Hey everybody, welcome back. It's week 5, which means we really only have after this week like a week and a half. Half summer sessions are crazy. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening this week. You may have noticed that I did publish the learning materials page, but I did not add a separate lecture. So this video will play that role. So we're entering week 5. The main thing, of course, this week is completing the poetry paper. I'm going to be getting you feedback on your bibliographies ASAP. I didn't get a chance to do them yesterday, but I should be able to start them today and then have them finished hopefully by tomorrow. So this week you are to read the full play, The Glass Menagerie. There is a video that you can also watch. I think it is important to watch dramas, but also to know what the text says because you're going to use the text when you write about it. So if it helps you, you can watch and read at the same time. There's a lot of ways that you can tackle reading a play because just reading a play sometimes can be difficult. But you do want to read the play. You do want to be familiar with the verbiage, the production notes. Williams used a lot of instructions in the production notes for this particular play. So you definitely want to take a look at that in depth. And then, of course, probably watch the video as well. In terms of what you're doing with drama this week, it's just the presentation, but you should treat the presentation as your pre-writing, your drafting for your drama paper. Okay, so let's take a look at the module and the assignments. All right, so week 5, time is flying. In the learning materials, like I said, we don't have a separate lecture. This is our walkthrough video, and that will serve as our lecture. But you do have some additional information. Of course, there's a link to the LibGuide where the play lives. And then under additional readings, we've got some information on how to write a poetry analysis essay, which of course is what you're working on. And then I've got some tips from Microsoft on creating the effective presentations. We have a sample poetry paper here for you to look at, and I do want to take a quick look at that. I want to show you a couple of things as reminders. The poem title is always going to be in quotation marks. The in-text citations for poetry will include line numbers rather than page numbers or anything else. So when you cite a quote from the poem, you will include line numbers in your in-text citation. If your quote is 3 lines or less, you will use these slash marks to show where the line breaks are. But a lot of times when we quote from poetry, we will have 4 lines or more. I did not do that in this sample, and I wish I had. I will show you really quick how to manage that. Let me open Word and take a look at how to manage that. Let me reshare here. Okay, so when we are using poetry in a paper, I'm just gonna go ahead and change this to double space, and I'm going to write a paragraph to introduce part of a paragraph to introduce the direct quotation from a poem. Okay, so when you are quoting 4 lines or more, which happens a lot when we quote poetry, you move the whole margin over to the 1-inch mark, and you have your lines of poetry. And then you will have your in-text citation, just like always. So let's say this was lines 1 through 4. Okay, just to make it easy. Then when you go back, you will move the whole margin over, and you will want to finish the paragraph before moving on to something else. So when you have a longer quotation, you do want to use the block format where the left side is indented a full inch, and you want to still cite it. And then you want to make sure that you don't end the paragraph with that, that you do follow up before you move on. So that should help with that. I don't know why I don't have a sample of that in the thing. I wish I had done that. Maybe I will update that for next time because that was silly. Okay, so we're going to close that. I don't really think I need to save that. Anyway, but this sample paper will help you, kind of think about how to interweave talking about the poem and also using your secondary sources. You'll notice that most of the paragraphs have a little bit of both with the quotes from the poem and the citations or the cited secondary sources. And then we do have a sample works cited page for you that's got a lot of the information. Now, of course, you will have already created your annotated bibliography for this past week. So you should already have your citations done. If there are problems with those, I will let you know. And so that you could, get them fully. Now, I will say one of the things that we ran into with the fiction paper is that people were not using the full citation from the library. So I'm going to open do I have our thingy already open? I don't think I do. I don't know why, but I do not have our LibGuide open. So let me open a new tab and we're going to go to the library and we're going to go to our course, course guides, choose an ENC 1102 course. There I am. Okay. So I'm going to open the poetry and I'm going to pick one of the library critical articles on Phenomenal Woman, just to use as a sample here. So you will notice that these are not complete citations. In order to get a complete citation for a library source, you have to open the source. So we're going to click on that. It's going to make me sign in, of course. Uh-oh, that's not good. Let me, dang it. Well, that's fun. I don't even know where that came from. Okay, so let me go back to the course guide and pick a different one. Actually, I'm gonna search the library. So let's go to the library home and we're gonna search. So let's do Phenomenal Woman. The reason I want to do it this way is I want to show you that when you first find a source that in the library materials, that you do not want to use the first citation that you come to because it's incorrect. I don't know why, and it's a statewide problem because as you guys know, I also work at Valencia and it's the statewide library. It's not Lake Sumter. So we don't blame Nora, Miss Rackley. So when you first open this article, you will notice that there is a citation button right here. If you use this, you will have the wrong citation. And I think that's what's happened a lot in the fiction paper. You want to actually open the article in this case. So I'm going to click on where it's available. And now I'm going to be able to choose the citation here where it says cite article. And remember, of course, we are using MLA. Um, oh, see, that's not right either. Ew. Okay. If you are using something from this database and you use this citation, I'm going to try to remember that it is wrong. Actually, that's not an MLA citation at all. What the heck? By the way, sometimes I do this live on a Zoom so that you can see that even when you do this all the time and you do this for a living, sometimes it does not go the way that you wanted it to go. So let me look at the one. Let me look at this one and see if it's better. MLA 7th edition, except we want ninth. Um, Okay, well, I'm gonna say you can use that. I don't like it. Let me find one that's in a different database because let's do this is from a book. Let's check the one for an ebook. Okay. When you open the source, and this is an EBSCO database, so this should be correct. When you open the actual source, excuse me, you will get the cite button here, and you will change it to MLA. And this is correct. So one of the things that a lot of people were missing on their citations for the fiction paper were this part, the EBSCO host part, because you really are supposed to have what database it came from. I noticed that that doesn't have it in the Sage one, so I'm going to try to be less judgy, but make sure that you're getting the most complete version that you can. There definitely were people who were citing things as if they were looking at the print copy of a book, and I know that can't possibly be true. So you definitely need to have the electronic access information. All right. So the sample will help you. The sample does give you good examples and all of that fun stuff. So the poetry paper, we've already gone over the poetry paper assignment. It is just like the fiction paper. It is an in-depth analysis of a poem. Now you do have the option to discuss two poems on this paper. But you want to make sure that if you're doing two poems, they have something in common to where you need to discuss them both, comparing, contrasting theme or something of along those lines. You can go at it from any angle, really. It is your paper, but it should be a literary analysis, meaning, and this is where a lot of folks were missing stuff in the fiction paper. We should be seeing direct quotations from the poem or poems throughout the paper. That should be the main focus is here's the poem and here's me analyzing the poem. You are also using what other people have said about the poem, of course, but if the poem is missing, then it's not going to be a very successful paper. Okay, so keep that in mind with the poetry paper. Now, in presentation number 2, it is a little bit quicker and worth a few less points than the fiction one was. I want this to be fairly quick for you, but I also want you to treat this as your pre-writing for the paper. So you may also want to access, and I should have probably put a link to it here, but let's access the poetry paper or the drama paper so that you can be thinking about that as you create your presentation. So it's available. Drama paper is right here in week 6. You are going to write a literary analysis essay that explores a specific theme, symbol, character, or dramatic technique in the Glass Menagerie. So read through this and let this kind of be your guide to what you want to include in your presentation. Okay. If you have technical problems again with Kaltura or something like that, you can use any form of video. You can create a video using PowerPoint. You can create a video as I do using Zoom. You have all the options in the world. But Kaltura really does work. So I would encourage you to at least try to do it that way. So those are your 2 assignments this week. So you're going to finish the poetry paper, which you've really already started, and you're going to complete that second presentation, which I really look forward to because I get to see you. So it makes me happy. If you have any questions this week, do not hesitate to reach out. I am here, and I will be happy to help you with any step of any of these processes. Take care, everybody.